where Boris Johnson has just made light of the use of chemical weapons in Syria, meaning that GQ can now stand for genocide quips. I mention that only to make this next comment a bit lighter, because if any of you know a little bit about history and fashion will know that Hugo Boss made the uniforms for the Nazis. And the Nazis did have flaws, but, you know, they did look fantastic, let's face it, while they were killing people on the basis of their religion and sexuality. Genocide quips are okay. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's already been sanctioned. It's all cool. The fellow that does our trains says it's cool. You know, it's fair enough. He might not have known. We're selling a lot of these they're flying off the shelves. We had a lot of clients in the 30s and 40s. I can't remember all of them. Did you make a lot of elasticated crotches, Hugo? Did it ring any bells? Hey, listen. No, I'm seriously grateful to be part of the publishing industry, the fashion industry. Fight the power. I'm happy. Don't take life too seriously.
Advertising today can allow a company to remodel themselves despite having a dark past. Many big companies today have skeletons in their closet which they wish they could erase, so they spend millions in advertising to regain the trust of their consumers. In this list today, we'll be focusing on 5 famous companies that have Nazi roots. Number 5. Bayer. During the Holocaust, a German company called IG Farben manufactured the Zyklon B gas used in the Nazi gas chambers. They also funded and helped with Joseph Mengeler's experiments on concentration camp prisoners. IG Farben is the company that turned the single largest profit from work with the Nazis. After the war, the company was broken up. Bayer was one of its divisions and went on to become its own company. Aspirin was founded by a Bayer employee, Arthur Eichengrun. But Eichengrun was Jewish, and Bayer did not want to admit that a Jewish man created the one product that keeps their company in business. So to this day, Bayer officially gives credit to Felix Hoffmann, a nice Aryan man, for inventing aspirin. Number 4. Siemens. Siemens took slave laborers during the Holocaust and had them help construct the gas chambers that would kill them and their families. Siemens also had the single biggest post-Holocaust moment of insensitivity for any of the companies on this list. In 2001, they tried to trademark the word Zyklon, which means cyclone in German, to become the name of a new line of products, including a line of gas ovens. Zyklon, of course, being the name of the poisonous gas used in their gas chambers during the Holocaust. A week later, after several watchdog groups appropriately freaked out, Siemens withdrew their application. They said they never drew the connection between the Zyklon B gas used during the Holocaust and the proposed Zyklon line of products. Number 3. Coca-Cola. Coke played both sides during World War II. They supported the American troops but also kept making soda for the Nazis. Then, in 1941, the German branch of Coke ran out of syrup and couldn't get any from America because of wartime restrictions. So, they invented a new drink, specifically for the Nazis, a fruit-flavored soda called Fanta. That's right, long before Fanta was associated with a bunch of exotic women singing in a god-awful jingle, it was the unofficial drink of Nazi Germany. Number 2. Hugo Boss. In the 1930s, Hugo Boss started making Nazi uniforms. The reason? Hugo Boss himself had joined the Nazi party and got a contract to make the Hitler Youth, Stormtrooper and SS uniforms. That was a huge boom for Hugo Boss. He got the contract just 8 years after founding his company, and that infusion of business helped take the company to another level. The Nazi uniform manufacturing went so well that Hugo Boss ended up needing to bring in slave laborers from Poland and France to help out at the factory. In 1997, Hugo's son Siegfried Boss told an Austrian news magazine, "Of course my father belonged to the Nazi party, but who didn't belong back then?" Number 1. Standard Oil. The Luftwaffe needed tetraethyl lead gas in order to get their planes off the ground. Standard Oil was one of only 3 companies that could manufacture that type of fuel, so they did. Without them, in theory, the German Air Force couldn't even have gotten their planes off the ground. When Standard Oil was dissolved as a monopoly, it led to ExxonMobil, Chevron and BP.
Today, IBM is one of the largest companies in the world, but they have a pretty dark past. In this video, we will go through how the Nazi regime ended up using IBM technology and how one of America's largest corporations, like so many times before, chose profit over morality to aid Hitler in one of the largest genocide in human history. Every 10 years, the US Census Bureau had to count the US population. But since all of this had to be done by hand, it took over 7 years to finish. This sparked an idea for Herman Hollerith, a young employee at the Bureau. He spent 10 years developing a system that could make the process a lot easier, and the result was the tabulator. The tabulator was the first ever electrical counting machine. It would use punching cards to store information, and it made the process a lot easier and faster. Herman started a company called Tabulating Machine Company in 1896. In 1910, Willy Heidenberg, an acquaintance of Herman Hollerith, licensed the tabulator to sell in Germany and started the company Dihomag, or translated to English, German Hollerith Machines LLC. A year after, Herman sold his company, the Tabulating Machine Company, to Charles Flint for over $1 million. With the purchase, Charles created the company Computing Tabulating Recording Company, or CTR, as a result of 3 acquisitions. Charles put in charge Thomas J. Watson to head the new operation, and in 1923, Dihomag became a direct subsidiary and the company was renamed IBM. Dihomag became the main provider for computing expertise for growing Nazi Germany to keep track on their population. In 1933, they had data over most of Nazi Germany's population with race data, family history, occupation, bank statements, and sexual orientation. With this data, the Nazi regime was able to quickly and systematically accelerate Hitler's anti-Jewish program. At the beginning, the punch cards, machinery, training, servicing, and special project works such as population census and identification was managed directly by IBM headquarters in New York. But with the increasing need of tabulators, Thomas J. Watson traveled to Germany and invested $1 million into Deomags to expand their operation and increase their partnership with the Nazi regime. With this, they were able to reproduce the increasing demands of tabulators in Germany and help Hitler in his expansion. With the construction of the Holocaust camps, the tabulator was an important piece. IBM maintained a customer site known as the Hollerith department in virtually every concentration camp to sort or process punch cards and track prisoners. The codes show IBM's numerical designation for various camps. Auschwitz was 001, Buchenwald was 002, Dachau was 003, and so on. Various prisoner types were reduced to IBM numbers, with 3 signifying homosexual, 9 for antisocial, and 12 for gypsy. The IBM number 8 designated a Jew. Inmate death was also reduced to an IBM digit. 3 represented death by natural causes, 4 by execution, 5 by suicide, and code 6 designated special treatment in gas chambers. IBM engineers had to create Hollerith codes to differentiate between a Jew who had been worked to death and one who had been gassed, then print the cards, configure the machines, train the staff, and continuously maintain the fragile systems every 2 weeks on site in the concentration camps. The business was doing so well that during the 1930s, Deomag was IBM's second most profitable company. And with the success, Hitler gave Watson a special award to honor the extraordinary service by a foreigner to the Third Reich. After a lot of public outrage with the bombing in Paris, Watson would later in June of 1940 return the medal. IBM claimed it does not have any other information about the company during its World War II period or the operations of Deomag, as it argued most documents were destroyed or lost during the war. But it's safe to say that IBM's tabulator was used extensively during the World War II, and the money that the company made during this time helped them grow substantially.